Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com. This is the Devil Forge oval-shaped forge setup, assembly, and product review. Now, Devil Forge makes a huge variety of different forges. This particular one is a 2-burner forge, oval in shape. It's perfect for the beginner novice knife maker or beginner novice blacksmith. It comes with everything you need except for the propane tank. The forge body itself, as I mentioned before, is oval in shape. It comes with insulation. This is a blanket ceramic insulation. And it also comes with the rigidizer that you paint onto that. It comes with 2-burner assembly, which has an isolation valve, with the fire bricks, which will act as the floor of the forge. The hose, which will connect from the burner assembly to the regulator. The pressure regulator. And all associated hardware for the regulator and the adapter for the propane tank. So the assembly of this forge is very easy. Really only takes a few minutes. First off, a look at the rigidizer. That actually comes in a powder. You mix it and you paint it on with a paintbrush, and you let that dry for a couple of days. Prevents fumes, toxic fumes from the insulation. The burner assembly has chokes on the top of each burner. So you open these up when the forge is in use. You really want to start with it less than 1/4 of an inch open. That's going to let air in, and you want to close those down until your flame is just a light blue. You can read the instructions. It's very simple. If you do turn off one of the burners with the isolation valve, make sure you then also close the associated choke. The assembly is very easy. You just insert it onto the 2 pipes on the top of the forge and tighten down the 3 associated bolts with each one of those pipe assemblies. The depth is preset by that crossbar. So basically you're just installing the burner assembly onto that crossbar. The next step is going to be to assemble the hose nipple onto the regulator. It's really only one way it can go together. It is a left-handed thread. You will need a wrench. I'm just using a small adjustable wrench. Then you're going to attach one end of the hose onto that hose nipple. I put the hose clamp on the hose first. Push the hose all the way down onto the nipple. Tighten it up with a screwdriver, and then I always like to snug it up with a wrench. You just get a little bit more oomph on it or tension on it. The other end of the hose gets attached to the burner assembly. And again, you're going to put the hose clamp on the hose first. You can work that hose down onto the hose assembly, or to the burner assembly, and again, you can snug it up with a screwdriver and or wrench. In the box, you'll also find some additional insulation, and with a screwdriver or a similar tool, you can break off small pieces of that and just pack the openings around each one of those burner assemblies. And this prevents air from getting into the forge, and it prevents flames from coming out of the forge or losing heat from that airspace. The fire bricks are pre-cut to size, and they just rest inside the forge, and they will act as the floor of the forge. The adapter screws into the propane tank separately from the regulator. It is a left-handed thread, and then the regulator will thread right onto that adapter. Again, another left-handed thread. This forge should be used with plenty of ventilation outside. I mounted mine on an old barbecue stand. I have a piece of concrete board on top Please note that the propane hose, or the hose from the burner assembly to the propane tank, is nowhere near either end of the forge. There is probably about a 6-inch flame that comes out both sides of this forge called the dragon's breath. That's a lot of heat. You don't want to have that propane hose anywhere near that flame. When you light this thing, you really want to light it with a barbecue lighter from the side. Highly recommended to use heat-resistant gloves as well as a long pair of tongs, both of which can be purchased on eBay, relatively affordable, or relatively inexpensively. As a demonstration, I'm going to heat treat this medium-sized knife. This is probably about a 10-inch knife. For the heat treating process, I usually like to insert the blade into the forge with the blade end down, the narrowest portion down. The reason being you don't want to overheat that thin edge of the blade. I actually went back and redid it at dusk. It just allows you to see the colors a little bit more dramatically. For this particular knife, again, it's a 10-inch knife, 3/16 thick, 1095 high carbon steel. It took just about 2 minutes to heat it up to a point where that material is no longer magnetic. And then by heat treating, we're just going to quench it in oil. I was very happy with the performance of this little oval-shaped forge. Again, these things come in a variety of different shapes and sizes, number of burners, but this particular one, the 2-burner forge, worked great. The heat treating that I did, I actually turned off one of the burners and was able to bring that knife blade to temperature using only one. Highly recommend the products from Devil Forge. Please check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. Be sure to check out our other how-to knife making videos and join us on Facebook group Knives and Knife Making. Thank you very much.